Hey, it's John. Welcome back to the show, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Live Cuts. On this show, we put a spotlight on live albums that don't get enough love or recognition. My guest today, you have no doubt seen on YouTube Talking Music
Maybe,
many,
maybe.
many times, in my opinion. And I'm not just talking about this because we've worked together so many times. He is the hardest working man in YouTube music talk.
That I might be, John.
That's
That I
right.
might be.
You may know him from his wonderful channel, Grant's Rock Warehouse, where he has several shows a week. You may know him where I met Grants
Mm-hmm.
on the Contrarians. Or you
Mm-hmm.
may know him from several other YouTube shows. Grant Arthur,
Yes, sir.
welcome to my show, sir.
Thank you. It's been a long time, John. I'm actually flat. I appreciate you asking me on because, we've had a lot of, I'm just going to talk about the warehouse just real quick, just in general. We've
Absolutely.
had a lot of different people come and go on the warehouse as guests, but you and John Clauser,
Mhm.
Todd were one of the big. You've been on the warehouse ever since the beginning. If you go back and look at early shows, you and John were always, and you're still here. So I applaud you. I
Thank
appreciate the
you.
support, and I'm flattered to be on your show. It's nice to reciprocate and have a chat with you on your channel. So,
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
And I want to say this, John. The reason I do like your channel is because you are a serious. I look at the warehouse. I want to have fun in the warehouse,
Yeah.
but I try, really, the warehouse is a very serious music channel. We're just trying to turn you on. And I look at your channel very similar to this because that's your goal.
Yes.
It's your goal. It's not just like clickbait. It is a
So
serious music channel, and that I applaud you. And I think what you're doing is great work. So keep up the good work.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Grant. And
Mhm.
right back at you.
Not like I know anything. I'm just some dude. I'm a bunch of cells,
Well,
but you keep doing what you're doing.
thank you very much. Grant suggested this album we're going to talk about today.
Mhm.
This album is this band's fifth album. They are from St. Louis, Missouri. I am talking about Head East with their first live album, fifth album overall, Head East Live. This was originally released in January 1979 on AM Records. This is a two-record set. This would hit number 96 on the US Billboard Top 200 charts. The members of Head East, who, and there you go, there's the liner notes in here. It
Oh, this is the Rock Candy reissue. As far as I
was.
know,
That is correct
not
for
super rock, but
2013.
I don't. Was there a release? Did this ever really get like a CD? Was this the first time it ever really came out on CD? Do you
I
know?
believe it was.
Yeah.
Because that's in all the information that I've looked up on this album. It looks like we never got this until 2013, but thank God for Rock Candy Records, who are rescuing these albums that no one knows about. Very few people know about, and they probably knew about them when they first came out.
Yeah.
The musicians who were on this album were John Schlitt on lead vocals, Mike Somerville on guitars and vocals, Roger Boyd on keyboards and vocals, Dan Burney on bass, guitar, and vocals, Steve Houston on percussion and vocals. Additional musician is Stan Gill, who plays organ on It's For You. This album was produced by Jeffrey Lezer using the Record Plant mobile recording unit, and it was recorded in several cities such as
Mhm.
Dallas, Texas, Kansas City, Missouri, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, St. Joseph, Missouri, and their hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. So, Grant, when did you
Yes.
first get acquainted with Head East music?
Well, this is an interesting. It's not really an interesting story, but this is the facts, kids. I remember them playing. They would play them on FM rock radio.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not like they would play. a lot of tracks. They would only play like Never Been Any Reason. So that's off the debut album. Believe that came out in 1975.
Yes.
Back in the 70s when I was a kid, they would play that all the time. And I love that track. I love it. But later on, as time progressed, we hear less and less of Head East on the radio. It's one of those bands that, well, let's look at this real quick. The band in the Midwest were fairly popular as a live act, but nationally in the United States, people really didn't. I'm not saying they didn't care, but they weren't successful. They were a Midwest band like
Sure.
REO,
Yep.
Michael Stanley Band would be another good one. Uh, and they put out a string of records on A&M that I think that the debut, Flat as a Pancake, is probably the most successful. And as they kept going, I would say that each record didn't sell as well as the debut.
Right.
Why? I don't know. The 70s were a very complicated era. But anyway, by 1979, they put out this live record. Now, I thought this would be good is because I've always liked that debut album. I was not familiar with this. If you've watched Sea of Tranquility, we've done several shows on Rock Candy.
Yes.
This got a re-release on Rock Candy, and this is the only Head East album that was released on Rock Candy. So I was intrigued. I'd never heard it. I've read reviews about it, John, saying that if you're going to get one Head East album, this is the record.
I read that.
You approached me with this show idea, and I went, you hit me just at the right time. And I went,
Nice.
let's do Head East Live because I'm all intrigued. But yeah, I've known this band since I was, a kid. So, but not so much. It's a little bit more obscure now.
I only knew one song by them until
Well,
you
me
asked.
too.
Well,
Yeah.
until you asked me to let's talk about this album. I knew them for one song, and it was Never Been Any Reason. That got played on
Right.
Rock 107, WECX FM, Scranton, Pennsylvania, still locally owned and operated. That's been in regular rotation
Oh,
on there since the 80s. You still hear it on there, and you hear nothing else. I didn't
that's
realize
the only song.
the only song, and I didn't realize they had higher charting singles.
Mhm.
I certainly didn't know they had a live album, let alone a double live album. I just figured.
Well, I will give you this. I know back in the day in the 90s, when people were unloading all their vinyl,
Okay.
you would see Head East in the used bins. And this record really must have sold well because I always would see this live album. So, you're talking about 1979. We had Frampton Comes Alive in 75 or 76.
76.
Kiss Alive. We had Alive 2. We had a lot. The Kansas live album. There were a lot of live albums. So it makes sense that Head East, of course, is going to put out a live album. It was of that era. But evidently, I just remember that I used to see a lot of these used. So I'm thinking, well, it must have sold well. I mean, I don't know what the numbers were, but it must have been a fairly big seller for the band. So why not talk about it?
Exactly. What I noticed, or what I learned from
Mhm.
reading the liner notes in this album, this Rock Candy reissue, is that they talked to John Schlitt, and he said this was about to take off, and A&M was having issues at their record label, and they stopped making copies of it. So it was doing well, and then it just died on the vine, which is a shame.
Mm. Well,
So
was it because there was a shakeup at A&M during
yes,
that?
there was a shakeup at A&M.
Mhm.
They stopped
Well,
making
we had a
copies.
lot of shakeups during that time period with different record companies. So that would make sense. So
Yes,
if you have a shakeup at a record company like the Matthew Sweet Show, we talked to Scott Byron about it
right.
on A&M. All the people that were on Matthew Sweet's team that brought Matthew to the label, they had a shakeup or a buyout. Everybody got fired. So the champions at the record company for the record, they're gone. You have no one to wave your flag anymore, so to speak. So if there's shakeups, they probably just, well, we're going to quit pressing that, you know?
Yeah, it's a
The
shame.
the record industry's complicated, John, very
It is.
complicated.
And it's a shame. You know why?
Why?
Because this is a fantastic live album.
Hmm.
If you heard this live album, you would think this band was a superstar, top tier band.
Hmm.
They are so tight, so professional. They got chops for days. As John says, no one could touch us live back then. And that's a pretty true statement. They're definitely in the
I
argument.
agree.
They're definitely in the argument. They had the songs. They were all strong musicians. They all wrote.
They all sang the
They all
harmonies on this
sang.
record too, John.
They all sang their harm. Okay, well, the first thing that jumps out at you in this album is Take a Hand's the opening track. The first thing you hear are those angelic harmonies.
Yeah.
And that's a Rick Springfield song that he nearly took to the top 40 in 1976.
Oh my God. What
But he
beautiful. What is that record you're talking about? 1976 Rick Springfield. The one where
it's
it's the black and white cover.
the
I know what you're talking about.
I have it written down and I will find it shortly.
I know exactly what album you're talking
Wait for the
about.
night. Wait for the
Wait
night.
for tonight. He's got like the suit on. It's black and white. I know exactly what album you're talking about.
Yeah, so you hear this, and
Hmm.
first of all, they make the song their own because they change it up. They start with the chorus at the beginning, a la the Beatles, and that's not how Rick Springfield's version goes. And there's just this gospel feel to it, particularly with those harmonies. And what
Hmm.
I'm noticing when I listen to this album and I look what these songs were on the original studio albums, it seems like as they were going on, they were putting more focus on those harmonies. The songs from the self-titled fourth album, which hit number 78 on the charts, you could definitely hear that they're trying to like go into this almost gospel feel, like with their harmonies on there. But the craftsmanship's still good. I mean, it doesn't sound like Christian music, but
No.
not like in their lyrics, but spiritually, it's certainly. I mean,
Well, if you're think about this, if you're in a
the
concert
presentation.
setting and you have that, it's very motivational to the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming the crowd I don't know. There's hardly any information on these records. I mean, this is good, but when you're going out and searching for information on it, I mean, Eddie, there's virtually nothing.
There isn't.
It sounds like the crowd is really with the band. The crowd is the band is into it. It's like it's like a it's kind of like a religious experience.
It
I
really is.
guess I don't know. And I just think that's funny that they would open up with a Rick Springfield song. Of course, during this time, who really knew Rick Springfield? Nobody,
No,
you know,
they knew him in
but
Australia, and that's about it, really.
that's about it.
And it's
But there's a certain energy and it brings you into the show and you just can feel the energy in the concert hall. I
exactly.
mean, I'm in. I like it, you know?
And I'm seeing the places they played on this live recording. They played in their hometown of St. Louis. I went on Setlist FM. It didn't list too many. It didn't list any songs for their set list at the Keel Auditorium. But I'm
Okay.
gathering that a lot of this must have been recorded at the Keel because some of these songs, the crowd is so into it, and
Yeah.
it would be their home base. They headlined that night because back in the day they were opening where they played the Texas Jam, and they played in Kansas City at Summer Rock 78. And they're playing with Bob Seger, they're playing with Foreigner, they're playing with
Yeah.
Bob Welch. So that's that crowd, but they just didn't have the big hits. But live, they're monsters. They're,
Hmm.
they're fantastic live. They've very well rehearsed, so much energy here. And it for a live album, you want it to make maybe it's not all the way live. Most of these 70s live albums aren't all the way live.
Well,
But
I think, you might have some few overdubs. Not everything's like Kiss
right.
Alive, which
And he
was
even
all
said that, and,
re-recorded.
And John even said that too. But what I'm thinking is what I've said before on shows like this is one, does it feel live? And
Yeah.
two, do I wish I was there? And that's the vibe I get here. I wish I was here because of this energy and excitement and all of
Hmm.
these great songs. And number two, this feels like how they would sound live.
Yeah, it's I think when I hear it, because you can hear the excitement in the room, but it almost thinks like it would translate better if you really were there.
Right.
I mean, this is a good document. And I'm not critiquing it. How can you really capture a live album without? You have to really be there with everybody celebrating the band and listening to the band together. But I think this comes pretty close.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
When back in the day, when you heard these guys on
Yeah.
the radio,
Hmm.
there weren't, I only saw three songs that hit the Hot 100. Do you think maybe a band like this would have had more success if A&M had them releasing more singles? Because what I was seeing, and I don't know how accurate Wikipedia is, but most of those albums, except for Flat as a Pancake, which originally came out in Pyramid, they only released one single for each album.
I just don't remember back in the day that this band had a lot of push.
Right. That's where I'm gathering. They have this, they're road hogs. They're obviously
Hmm.
fantastic live. They love the road, but they're not getting that push from A&M. As I mean, I looked at the how the albums charted, and none of them came close to the top 40.
No.
And I believe Flat as a Pancake only went gold. Well, it went gold in 78, so you're talking 3 years later. So it was an album that had legs. And when you go listen to the studio albums, I think that might be the strongest one.
Yeah.
And it's well represented on here. You got 5 songs from Flat as a Pancake on here, but they didn't sell a lot of albums. I mean, they're all out on tour all the time. I don't think A&M is getting them to singles because back then the singles were what was
Nah.
pushing the record. I mean, you're selling the album when you go out on tour, but the singles are what's going to really bring the masses in.
Yeah, 100%. I wish I knew. I don't know what the deal was. It's amazing they put out so many records on A&M in general because you look at this and you think, well, this is probably the contractual record, but it's not. They put out another record after this. They had some lineup changes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Schmidt had left. He went to Petra. One gentleman was fired,
What
and
was
then
actually
another
fired?
gentleman left, and they still put out another record. So that must have been the final album. Uh, it's quite a mystery. Someone should really write a book on this band.
Yeah, Tim Derling, you listening?
Tim Derling, yes, who just wrote uh, "The Sound That Haunts You," the beginner's companion to Fleetwood Mac.
Yes, with my copies upstairs.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely looking forward to digging into that one. So when I hear these songs,
Mhm.
there's just a lot of great craftsmanship here. The musicianship is wonderful. John Schlitt's vocals are
Great.
excellent, and he's
Yeah.
got a wonderful rapport with the crowd. Man, I Wanna Be's the second track on the album. This is very melodic. This does have a little more of that gospel feel that I think they were kind of going for on here. Nice hooks on here, nice musical bridge on this as well. And other songs on here like Fly By Night Lady. When I hear Fly By Night Lady, with the organ and how heavy that is, it reminds me a lot of Deep Purple.
It's very deep purplish.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what did I write about Fly By Night Lady? Once I can find it, I have to scroll a lot. I'm a scroller, John. I'm a scroller.
Okay.
Oh, I think what did I write about this? I kind of gritty, but I still think Somerville's guitar work on here, phenomenal. It really shines through on the live mix as opposed to the studio version of it. But it's short, 3 minutes. You know, if you're live, you'd think you would have a longer track, but it's a hard rocker. It does capture that gritty side in the band. I love it. I have no issues with that track. Great track.
Excellent track. And this was one of their singles. One
Hmm.
of the 6 singles they released up until this album. 6 singles total now.
But I don't think that did anything.
It
Did
didn't.
it? It
No,
didn't do anything.
no, it didn't do anything.
But if we're comparing a lot of this stuff, um, I mean, I'm not trying to dog the band by any means, but
Mhm.
I mean, if you compare it to Never Been Any Reason, that is, when I hear that song, though, that is an obvious hit.
Yes.
And I don't know if they've ever produced anything quite at that level because it's almost, you listen to Flat as a Pancake and it almost sticks out because you look at it and you go, oh my God, this is, this is obviously the single.
Right.
Uh, the other track, yeah, it was a single, but is it as good? I mean, what was it about this band? Why didn't this band take off? Really the question that I want to know.
I think number one was the push. They did a lack of a push. I thought the
Mm-hmm.
songs that they released, like Love Me Tonight, which was also off that album,
Mm-hmm.
it's weird. Like Love Me Tonight was a number 58 single here in the United States. I think structure wise, I think it screams hit single. The only thing I wonder is, do you want it to start out acoustically? Wouldn't it have been better in the verses? Do you want a little more electric in them? And
A
I
little bit
think
more oomph.
a little more oomph. I think it would have translated better onto FM radio. And I know we're more AM radio at this point in the 70s, but I think it just needed a little more punch to it, even though the craftsmanship is certainly there.
Let me throw this out.
Okay.
What about the track Since You've Been Gone, which is a Russ Ballard song? They did that on Head East 1978, but they did a the live versions on here.
Mm-hmm.
See, I find that the live versions on a lot of these tracks are much more obviously tighter, which seems
Oh, yeah.
odd for a live record, but there's that certain energy. It's like if you listen to Kiss Alive and then you
Yes.
listen to the studio albums that came before. I think Head East Alive does what Kiss Alive did for Kiss, you know?
It's funny because, well, on that same level, REO Speedwagon, their live album, Go for What Go. Oh, I'm
Uh,
sorry. You get what you play for.
you get what you play for.
You play for.
1977, right? Yeah.
Yes, you get what you play for. Those versions of those songs are so much stronger in a live forum than
Yeah.
you hear in the studio versions. And here, I think when we're
I think
talking
it's
about the studios, the albums, the studio
mhm.
albums, I think they were recorded okay, but
Yeah.
they weren't a great representation of them, in my opinion. I think there was a lot of energy behind this band, and it didn't really feel energetic. When you talk about Never Been Any Reason, that feels like an energetic song. And I think one thing there were great hooks on that song too.
Well,
Because
yeah, it's a great hook. That's a single.
right,
But the live version of it, I does take it up a notch. I
it
have to
does.
agree.
It absolutely does. I
And since you've been gone, I'm just going to ask you this. How do you feel about this version as opposed to Rainbow's version?
I like Rainbow's version more, but that's because I'm more accustomed to it.
Hmm.
Because you still hear Since You've Been Gone, the Rainbow version, which didn't chart as high here in the States. It hit 57 for Rainbow and 46 for Head East. But you never hear the Head East version
You
here.
never do. That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
Why don't we hear the Head East version? That was a hit, a minor hit.
Yeah. You hear, and it's funny because the Rainbow version, that's Graham Bonnet, great singer. He only sang on one album with Rainbow, and that's the Rainbow
That's
song you probably hear the most here in
that would be the
Pennsylvania.
most that I would say, John, that is the most recognized Rainbow song. When you think Rainbow, you think Since You've Been Gone. I would have to agree.
And
Um,
it was A&M pushed Head East to record that too, because I guess their thing was, okay, you're not selling enough albums. You gotta record this.
oh, okay.
I think that's what John Schlitz said in the liner notes.
Well, I can believe that because, Head East never really sold that many records. And, the record company's bound and determined to get involved and say, all right, boys. Well, we're due for another hit, you know? It's the same
Exactly.
old story. A lot of bands have had this whole thing, you know?
Exactly. What do you think? What are some other songs on here that really jump out at you?
Uh, yeah, let me look. Well, Jefftown Creek, which is off of Flat of the Pancake. I believe that was written by Steve Houston. That's kind of an extended jam. It
Mhm.
kind of shows the band's Southern rock influences on it.
Mhm.
It's kind of bombastic, I will say. There's a certain energy to it that the studio version doesn't have. The live version brings it to life.
I agree.
That's one track. What else did I write down? Um, mm, what else did I write? Um, uh, okay, get up and enjoy yourself.
That was what I was just gonna say.
Okay, that's another highlight.
Hmm.
Now this was uh recorded. This was re-recorded. Okay, get yourself up 1976, which I do believe was the original title for the debut. It was re-recorded for Head East 1970. It was re-recorded for Head East album 1978. John Smith track. This is an anthem. This is high energy. This is probably one of the peak tracks on the record as far as I'm concerned. A lot of crowd interaction. It what a way to end side two. Oh my God. You end side two with this, you long for side three, but it's got a party rock kind of atmosphere. What I mean, give me side three. I'm ready for side three. It makes me long for more. So I
And
think that's one of the great tracks on it.
I agree. And to me, and just to add to that, it has this Motown feel to it
It does
with
have a
that bass
Motown
line.
feel.
And with that bass line on it, it makes you want to get up and move. And then with
100, yep.
the energy on it, it just really brings it to life in the way that they play it. This is an excellent anthem. Love it.
When I was kind of doing research for this record, I was seeing a lot of people kind of had questions about, or maybe one of the critiques is the sequencing on this. Now, I don't know what the original sequencing was for the live show, but people were kind of upset with the way when the ballads would show up and then you'd have a live track. I don't really hear that. I think that this record flows really well. It's like you've got a banger, a couple bangers, maybe you have a ballad, but the ballads aren't all that ballady. They
Right.
still rock quite a bit. And I really don't see that criticism on this record. Um, I'm not sure where I was going with that, but I'm just saying, I think that the sequencing on this record works. And for people that would critique it back in the day about the ballads, they're not all that ballady. This is a
I
rock band.
I agree
And
with that. And I think the sequencing is fine here, particularly the second record is a banger.
the track, every bit of my heart. This is considered a ballad. It's 8 minutes long. How
Right.
many ballads go 8 minutes long? It's
Exactly.
emotional. You've got great keyboard build up. You've got a lot of vocal interplay like you get with Head East.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like a band that has a lot of vocal interplay, I
Right.
mean, the only thing that I can think at this level would be maybe the Beach Boys. And Head East doesn't sound like the Beach Boys at
No,
all. But
no.
I mean, there is so much vocal interplay between the band members that I mean, if you like the Beach Boys, you like harmony vocals, and you like harmony vocals within a band setting, you may want to check this out. That's all I'm trying to say. I mean, they cover all the bases. Uh, but every little bit, an 8 minute, I guess it's an extended ballad, but I think that's another great song. The whole damn thing's good, to be quite honest.
It really is. What do you think of It's For You, the song that Paul McCartney and John Lennon wrote but
Oh yeah, yeah,
themselves?
yeah. The uh, oh crap, I wrote something. Where is it? Um, come on, Grant. Where's your crap? Um, Oh yeah, yeah. It's not for you. Yes,
It's
which
for you.
was a Cilla Black song. Okay,
Mhm.
what did I write about that? Well, the thing is about this track. This is a Cilla Black song that John and Paul gave to her back in the day. This is something that's pretty obscure.
Yes,
I mean, no one would know who this is unless you're like a hardcore Beatles fan. But it adds a lot of variety. You know, it's pop rock. Again, I bring up the vocal arrangements and it hits it out of the park. But people, they really, if you go, all right, everybody go out and look at the Cilla Black version. You can probably find it on YouTube. What Head East does, they make this track their own.
no doubts.
And that's what I like about it. Yeah, you still have a lot of great vocal arrangements. You got a great rock pop feel to it, but they can interpret it in their own way, which is phenomenal. Yeah, go out and compare both versions and report back.
With the harmonies, I think this is the most impressive harmonies on the record. And
Hmm.
they truly do make this their own. And then at the end, when you have John Schlitt going into his solo part there, that's really great use of dynamics. The crowd's
Oh
really
yeah.
up. It's a
Well,
very good
people,
song.
you never hear anything about John's vocals, but what a good singer he is.
Absolutely. And when you think about it, I mean, you can see why Petra wanted him in the band in '86
Right.
because they were looking for a new vocalist at that point. You listen to him and like, oh yeah, he could do this. He could do Christian rock music, no doubt about it.
Sure.
So he fit into that band like a glove, and that's when they experienced their most success and were winning Grammys and
Yeah.
were selling a good amount of records too, particularly for a Christian
Now,
rock.
when I was doing my research, I'm just going to throw this. This is kind of going on a tangent.
Sure.
Well, maybe it's not. We're still talking about Head East.
Mhm.
When we're talking about off the debut album, Flat as a Pancake, and we're talking about Never Been Any Reason. You've got that vocal interplay on that record. So you've got John, and I was going, who is the other singer who is fantastic on this song?
I
I
wasn't
went and researched that.
okay.
Well, it was the drummer was doing the
Steve,
background vocals.
okay.
So they do that because he almost sounds like I don't want to say sounds like a woman, but it almost sounds like well, he almost sounds like a woman, damn it.
I thought that
Uh, but you know what I mean? It works out well. What's his name? I'm trying to remember. Drummer was
Steve Houston. Steve.
Steve Houston. And he wrote a lot of the tracks on that debut album, at least half of them. And I think he recently passed away like a couple of years ago. But his
Yes.
vocals, when he blends it with Steve doing the lead vocals and they trade back and forth, it's that it's that Greg Raleigh, it's that
Greg Raleigh,
Steve
Steve Perry
Perry thing
thing.
where we
Okay.
trade back and forth, and I love it. That's one of the things I like about that song is
Oh,
that the trading off vocals.
oh, definitely.
Hmm.
Excellent track. And some of the others there. I mean, the second half of this album, I think, is wicked. I mean, we got their most enduring song, Never Been Any Reason after that. But then we have Elijah from the fourth
Hmm.
album, just called Head East. And
Hmm.
again, it's very, very spiritual, but yet very, very rocking. The harmonies and the chorus on here are wonderful. The choruses on the vast majority of these songs are very,
Hmm.
very strong, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that song is a knockout right there.
Well, based on what you said, I'm always surprised. Why didn't this band take off?
I'm thinking push. Here's another thing that I read, and this is something that was in the liner notes. They only tour in the United States. They never even went to
Well,
Canada.
they never went to Canada, but a lot of the records seem to have sold more in Canada than they did here in the States. So that doesn't make sense. Why didn't they go to Canada and tour? If they were selling more records in Canada, why are you spending so much time here in the States?
I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. I mean, another thing that I read that John mentioned in the liner notes, and this
Yeah.
makes more sense too. He said Cheap Trick
Mm.
And Ario and us
Mm.
were all playing the same venues. We're all from a similar area. In fact, I believe Ario are from Champaign, Illinois.
Yep.
And John said we were from Champaign. Maybe he's from Champaign, although they say they're at their hometown, St. Louis. But he was from Champaign, I believe. He
Yeah.
said they were at the same level. Ario was at his head east, and then they moved to LA. And when they moved to LA, they got the push. And maybe they were playing the
Well,
West
we've
Coast a
talked
lot more.
about that before. We've talked a lot about on the Contrarians and my channel about these Canadian bands. The Canadian bands that didn't do that well, see, Rush is different. They stayed in Toronto. I don't
They
know how
stayed in
they took
Toronto. They were
off,
different. Yeah, they were an anomaly. They
but
were
the
just that
bands
good.
that just stayed in Canada and didn't make the move to like LA or to the States. They didn't have any real success. They just stayed in Canada and people didn't pay attention. But Rush is an anomaly because they never made the move, but I don't know.
Well, they had a sound all their own, and people wanted to really progressive rock was still there at
Hmm.
that point. They were still a really progressive band. And
Yeah,
before they brought in those pop hooks, particularly on Permanent Waves. But I think that they were road hogs though too, and they toured the states heavy. And
they did tour the States.
they open every you figure they're opening for Kiss when Kiss was white hot. Like when Kiss was hitting with Alive one and Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over, that's when Rush was with them. So you got all those eyes on Rush now.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking those tours in 76, they're helping that 2112 album sell really well because and they needed the thing with Rush, I think, is they needed a single too. And
Yeah.
then they got that. We're closer to Hard on Farewell to Kings. So I think that's what happened with them. But this band had the singles, but I don't think
Hmm.
but A&M wasn't A&M was
Promoting them,
enough of them.
wasn't pushing them.
They weren't putting out enough of them. If you're only going one single on an album. But yeah, John was definitely saying LA was, we decided to stay where we were, is what he says.
And I think that might have been detrimental.
Right. You're
If you're
talking
not
about
where the local office is,
mm-mm.
if they're staying in St. Louis, then, well, yeah, that might have been it.
You were mentioning Canadian bands. Would you say
Mhm.
somebody like a Chilliwack, for example? Oh, they only had a
Well,
few minor hits here.
Gone, Gone, Gone.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? It's not called Gone, Gone, Gone. It's called My
My
Girl.
girl, a gone, gone, gone. She gone.
Yeah, but that was like their only hit in the States, but they were pretty popular in Canada.
Right.
They made that move down here, but that was the only thing they ever, and that was a late record.
Mm-hmm.
That record was pretty far into their career. That's like the eighth or ninth album or
Right.
something. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. But from what I recall, it's not like the second album. Um,
Well, it's funny you mentioned
but I
that
don't
because
know.
April Wine, it was like about the ninth record. Well,
Yeah.
maybe a
But
little
they never made the move down here either.
right. They never made the move down here, but it took them like they had those moments where they'd have a hit and then they'd still be making albums and they wouldn't sell here, but they'd be big in
I mean,
Canada.
Just Between You and Me was a big song. Sign of the Gypsy Queen was very popular. And that's all of Nature of the Beast, which was a big record. They started to catch fire in the States with Harder, Faster.
Right.
And then Nature of the Beast was a fun, big record. And I think Power Play did pretty well as well. Not quite the sales of Nature of the Beast, but they never moved. See, this whole thing, I think this theory of Canadian bands moving down to the States might be a bunch of crap, and that just might be folklore because April Wine, I just think that I don't know why they couldn't maintain the momentum. Because Just Between You and Me is obviously a big song. They never moved down here. I don't know. We're just talking. Ladies and
Exactly.
gentlemen, we're just talking. I don't
Right.
know. I don't have the answer.
That's what we do. But I'm going to change subjects here though.
Go ahead.
Do you remember Head East playing live near your area
No.
back? Oh,
Nope.
okay. Like back in 78, 79 or so?
Not when I was a kid. I just remember like Legend Valley and the Cars, Van Halen, uh, like Ted Nugent would play. I don't remember Head East when I was a kid back in the day. I don't remember anything mentioned about Head East touring around here. They
Mm.
weren't on any of those Legend Valley shows or anything, and those were big shows. No, I don't remember anything about them. They were just a, I don't want to say blip on the screen, but they were a blip on the screen.
They deserve to be a heck of a lot more than a
Well,
blip.
that's kind of why we're looking at this record. I think
Doubt about it.
anybody, if you don't know Head East, I'll just say it right now. If you're looking to get into this band, you know you like that song, you know you love the hit. Uh,
Never been
you
easy.
right, you had to have heard that somewhere in your life if you've been watching these shows. If you like that, you want maybe the definite version, which I think might be on here, or you just want to hear the band and you need an introduction to the band. I would not hesitate and recommend starting here. If you like what you hear, then you may maybe want to venture out. Now, if you're a physical media person, I can't really help you right there. I know this is out. I know the debut album's out on CD. But beyond that, they also never had a big push to have anything released on CD during the CD heyday,
Just flat as
which
a
is a
pancake,
crime.
really.
Just that, yeah, which kind of goes to show me that these guys didn't ever sell enough for them to even take them seriously to put out CDs. You know, if they didn't sell anything back in the CD age, A&M hands off. But
Mm.
I think maybe it's time we look at this band, reevaluate Head East, reevaluate the catalog, because compared to a lot of the stuff that I hear today, John, Jesus,
Oh my God.
this is absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely.
Just saying. So I don't know. That's my thoughts. I was very surprised, even though I kind of threw this out there. Uh, it's not something that I'm going to trade in. I think it's a great live record. It captures 1979 to the T, and it makes me wish I had a time machine so I could go there for real. That's my thoughts.
Oh, no doubt about it. And the thing is, everyone who's out there watching, there were a lot of great songs, but and they were considered Midwest rock, but there
Hmm.
was levels to their sound. You heard elements of prog in here. You
Yeah.
heard elements of R&B in here. You heard elements of pop in here. Mike Somerville is a very, very strong guitar player, but he's
Oh,
not a showy guitar player.
he plays to the song.
He plays to the song. All the guys play to the song. All these guys are very, very strong musicians and even better singers.
Well, you made a point there. Maybe this is why they had trouble with success. We've got R&B, we have Hensa Prague, we've got regular rock and roll, we've got ballads, we've got a lot of different styles,
Mm.
and maybe A&M didn't know how to market it. How do you market something like that?
You may be right there.
That could
Just
be the problem. It all works out on this record. That's all I
does.
really what I'm saying is that everything came together here and works.
No doubt about it.
I mean, if it wasn't for Rock Candy and doing all those damn shows on Sea of Tranquility, talking about Rock Candy stuff, we probably wouldn't be talking about it. So I salute Rock Candy for doing yet another great reissue, one of the best reissue labels. I have nothing to do with Rock Candy, but I love what they do. And so anyway, exactly. Thanks for having me on here, John.
You're welcome.
Everybody, please just go and check it out. Give this record some love and go over to it's still in print. Go over to Rock Candy and order it. Support these bands in physical media. I don't know what else to say. It's hey, you like 1979? You like guitar sounds from that era? Do yourself a favor. Good songwriting, good production. All right.
And
What
even
more
if you
can I
want,
say?
yep. And even if you want to listen before you buy, this album and several of the studio albums are on Spotify.
Okay.
I checked out three of the studio albums before Head East Live. One of them wasn't available,
No.
but but a lot of their catalog, including their greatest hits, around Spotify. They also have a Christmas album out there. I guess they put out a Christmas album, and all these bands from the 70s and 80s were doing that.
Hmm.
That's out there too.
Oh,
So,
cool. Well, that's good news, John, that the records are available on Spotify because back in the CD era, I do know that some of them came out in Japan.
mhm,
They got a CD release, but never came out here. It's like Pablo Cruz.
right. Yep.
A lot of their records came out in Japan on CD. I know we're talking CDs, but
Right.
damn it, that's what we're doing.
Right.
A lot of that Pablo Cruz catalog, you can get like Worlds Away and you can get another record, but really they never, it's just weird. And the Japanese, I applaud them. I know we're coming up to an hour. I applaud that the Japanese would just put out a lot of this stuff. So another tangent, but I'm a CD guy. So what can I say?
So, Grant, what do you think of Head East Live? How would you rank this on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I'm going to say this is how I look at it. I do believe that this is probably the definite version. This is the definite album for anyone that wants to get into Head East because, like what we've said, this captures the whole live feeling. This takes these studio tracks and it's like we said before, it's the Kiss Alive thing.
Mm-hmm.
You've got those studio tracks, the three albums from Kiss, but once they did them in the live setting, they came alive. Same thing with Head East. This start out here, kids. What would I give this? Vocals incredible. Band is top notch. Guitars are great. Drumming phenomenal. They work like a machine at this point. I would probably, is it a perfect live album? I mean, what are we comparing it to? Kiss Alive, Frampton Comes Alive. I mean, it can stand up with those. I just think it's a crime that it really never took off. What would I give this out of 10? Not perfect, not the greatest. I think, what would I give this? I think I'd be happy with giving, as a live album goes, I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
All right. I'd give this a 9 out of 10.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I'd give this a 9 out of 10 for all the reasons that you discussed. I think the songs are very strong. The second half of the album, I believe, what would be the second record,
Yeah.
is nearly perfect. I
Yes.
love the rapport that John has with all the singers in the band and with the crowd. It feels so great
Hmm.
live. The songs are very, very strong. You have catchy hooks on here, you have catchy songs. The playing is impeccable. Again, all the musicians play for the song. I listened to this album. I think it deserved a better fate. And it is a double live album. Thank you,
Right.
A&M, for at least giving Head East the opportunity to do a double live album, because
Well,
some
it counts as two records. It
two
counts as
records,
two releases. So,
two releases, and plus it gives you a better representation
yeah.
of what they really are. So
Yeah.
many, we love Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick at Budokan was a single record. It didn't tell the whole story. We get the whole story many, many years later. As it is, I would give this a 9 out of 10.
I
So,
applaud you, John. Excellent. I can't
thank
argue with
you.
that. It's an unsung hero. I mean, we could keep going, but I think that sums it up. I gave it John, if you ever see me rate stuff, I always rate low. I don't know why. Uh, an eight
Oh,
or a
music.
nine. I'm sure John would like to know. I would like to know if you know this record. Please rate it down below because we'll see it. I'll look at all the comments too. I'll chime in. Uh, I think it's well worth your go out and check it out if you haven't heard it.
Absolutely. And we have been discussing Head East live from January 1979. Do you know Head East music? Do you maybe only know their singles, particularly the very enduring Never Been Any Reason? Did you see them live back in the 1970s with the classic lineup? Have you seen them recently? Roger Boyd, their original keyboardist, has a version of Head East out there. They played in Iowa on November 7, 2025, opening for Starship. So they're still out there. Sadly, 3 of the members of the band we have lost. John Schlitt is still alive and well. Please let us know in the comments what you think of Head East.
All right.
Grant,
There you go. Yes,
thank
sir.
you so much. It's been too long. I've been on so many years shows. It's been a privilege to have you on mine. Thank you so much for
Well, anytime you want
introducing
me
this
back, you let
album
me
to me.
know.
I'm
Well, it's
sorry.
very enjoyable. John, it's always fun shooting the shit with you and always talking music. And we've never had any problem doing that. It's just a continuation of what we do best. So
No doubt about
thank
it.
you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. What do you have going on? As I mentioned, you are the hardest working man on
Well,
YouTube.
what's coming up on the
You can talk.
Contrarians?
What do we
We
got
did
going up? Going
I
on.
had, actually, it's going to go up tonight. When is this going to air?
This is going to air on Saturday, November
Okay.
15th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time.
All right. So, everybody, if you haven't checked it out yet, I had Tim Derling on the show. We did a brief interview. Like we talked about earlier, Tim Derling has a new book called The Sounds That Haunt You, The Beginner's Companion to Fleetwood Mac. So, on the Contrarians and on Grant's Rock Warehouse, we have an interview with Tim Derling that will already be aired. Go check it out. This book is phenomenal. I have nothing to do with it other than Tim Derling's been putting out books. He's been very prolific lately,
No.
but he's covering Fleetwood Mac, and he approaches this book from the aspect of if someone's trying to get into the band, what is his approach to getting into the band? Great read, a lot of great graphics. Check that out. That'll be in the warehouse and the Contrarians. What else is coming up? You said this is going to be Sunday,
This will be on Saturday, November 15th.
Saturday, uh, Sunday. So tomorrow, real quick, Angie Moon will be back. We will be doing yet another episode in the acid test at 9 a.m. We will be looking at the Ventures, and Sunday evening we'll have another listening party. And the listening party, someone's talking about maybe we should do Duran Duran. I'm not doing Duran Duran. I'm going to wait till a week tomorrow. But Sunday, we are just going to play random shit,
Oh,
random
okay.
stuff. No, there's no rhyme or reason. I'll put something together. So it's just a free for all,
Nice.
kind of. So there
Nice.
you go.
And of course, Grant will have a ton of stuff coming out on the Contrarians later on this month here in November. Oh, and one more
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
If you like the Contrarian sweatshirts, you like that hoodie that Grant is wearing right now, check
Oh,
out
the psychedelic breakfast hoodie.
the psychedelic breakfast hoodie for Grant's Rock Warehouse, psychedelic breakfast with Angie Moon. Check out T Public if you'd like to get one of them.
Yes. Yes. New merch. So go check it out.
No doubt about it.
I don't make hardly any money because I probably play a lot of music. But if you can buy a sweatshirt or you can buy a T-shirt or you can give a donation, I appreciate it. I'm not looking for handouts, but the warehouse isn't a cheap enterprise. I'll leave it at that.
Well, there's a lot of overhead there.
There is.
No doubt about it.
There's
Thank
some
you
overhead.
all. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Do what you love, and we'll talk to you soon.